how Hasatan just comes immediately?
Ain't no sequel. The last season, Moedim. Ain't no getting through them gates without that blood on you. I can tell he ordering my steps, cause when the world said no, the Father still said yes.
Okay. Can we talk for a minute? Clearly, by the water. Can I just real quick? Because when I keep saying there is nothing new under the sun, I'm even debating on changing the series name to that. Because there's literally nothing under the sun. But just for a little quick vessel talk, okay? Is 2nd Esdras chapter 4, where the Archangel Uriel is speaking to Esdras. And it's basically just Uriel speaking game, showing Esdras a little bit of all the knowledge that Uriel has, because he's a specific archangel where his job is specific. And he says, and what struck out to me, because I say this all the time too, and a lot of people are saying it now, that the devil is not even trying to hide anything. Mind you, I still believe that yes, the legions and all of that have to still report to God. It's not like it's a him versus him thing, because there's only one ultimate power, and that's God, and that's it. And through Christ is the dominion and so forth, right? But the legions still have to answer to the higher power. They still have to answer to the Most High. So when Uriel said, this is 2nd Esdras chapter 4 and verse 11. This is where the mind just started sparking. And it says, how should thy vessel then be able to comprehend the way of the highest, in the world being now outwardly corrupted, to understand the corruption that is evident in my sight? You know how many people, including myself, say that now? It's just like they putting it out. They don't care. The corruption is clear as day, but there's no actions towards it. Okay. We think this way for a reason. Okay? And then it continues on to say, then said I unto him, meaning Esdras, it were better that we were not at all, than that we should live still in wickedness, and to suffer, and not know wherefore. Okay? So the conversation continues. And Uriel just spits all the game. He starts talking about the comparison with the flood and the seas and so forth, and giving it pretty much an analogy to how insatiable the evil seed has been sowed, and how relentless people are when it comes to conquering land, when it comes to trying to rule the sea and so forth. So excuse the airplane as I read. A loud airplane. Where is he even at? Oh, it's a helicopter, that's why. Ciao. Anyway, this is verse 14, still in 2nd Esdras chapter 4. And said, come, let us go and make war against the sea, and it may depart away before us, in that we may make us more woods. The floods of the sea also in like manner took counsel, and said, come, let us go up, and subdue the woods of the plain, that there also we may make us another country. So it's just pretty much the way in which humans love to just take over stuff that's not even theirs. Like, can you just be happy with what you're allotted? You know what I mean? This is what's coming into my head. Overall, the message of this chapter is just, you cannot understand the ways of the Most High. You just can't. Because here's the premise for it. Verse 2, and said, thy heart hath gone too far in this world, and thinkest thou to comprehend the way of the Most High? So this is why Uriel is spitting what he's spitting. For Esdras, he goes on to say in verse 23, for it was not my mind to be curious of the high things, but of such as pass by us daily, namely, wherefore Israel is given up as a reproach to the heathen, and for what cause the people whom thou hast loved is given over unto ungodly nations, and why the law of our forefathers is brought to naught, and the written covenants come to non-effect. So it's basically him questioning, why are the people in captivity continuing to be in captivity and so forth, and getting their being under the besiege of the heathen. He's not getting it. And to me, it's not that he's not getting it, it's just he's having a conversation to gain the knowledge from Uriel. Continues on to say in verse 24, and we pass away out of the world as grasshoppers, and our life is astonishment and fear, and we are not worthy to obtain mercy. 25. What will he then do unto his name? Whereby we are called. Of these things have I asked. Then Uriel answered and said in verse 26, then answered he me and said, the more thou searchest, the more thou shalt marvel, for the world hasn't fast to pass away. And it's like, it's saying, Uriel is saying, it is not your will, because God only knows the date and time. You're not supposed to know what's happening. You're living in this time frame, and so much evil has sown because since the beginning of Adam. You know what I mean? Since the beginning of time with Adam, stuff has happened. The initiation of knowing about good and evil started to occur all the way back since Adam. So a lot of wickedness has been going on ever since. Verse 30, just to back up what I'm saying, in verse 30 it says, for the grain of evil seed hath been sown, and how much ungodliness hath it brought up unto this time, and how much shall it yet bring forth until the time of threshing come? Ponder now by thyself how great fruit of wickedness the grain of evil seed had brought forth. Nothing is good about this flesh, nothing is good about this world, and so forth. So how can an evil grain produce good? Just doesn't happen like that. Then it continues to say in verse 32, and when the ears shall be cut down, which are without number, how great a floor shall they fill? So when you're reaping evil and when you're sowing evil, it's just going to be a continuation. It's going to keep blooming. It's going to keep getting harvested. It's still going to continue. It says in 34, and he answered me, saying, meaning Uriel, answering him, because he basically just said, how long is this going to last? And Uriel said, do not hasten above the most highest, for thy haste is in vain to be above him, and thou hast much exceeded. That's self-explanatory right there. You cannot measure, you cannot fathom the amount of evil that has been going on for so long. And when people think with the second coming that, everything's going to be in unity and so forth, no, that is not the case. What it's going to be is him setting things correctly because of such evil seeds that have been sown for so long, and he needs to pluck it out, and he needs to purge it out, and he needs to get rid of it by fire. That is the only way to burn an evil seed. That is the only way to burn weeds. That is the only way to get rid of parasites. By fire. That's what he's going to do. And then it goes on to the analogy of a woman that is with child, saying there is a point in time where she has to give birth, where the travailing through giving birth and the pain of giving birth has to happen, because the baby cannot stay in her womb past the allotted time. And there are other scriptures in which that is an analogy where the world is a woman and she's experiencing labor pains, and she is at a point where it's quivering and it's shaking and it's painful and all of this, okay? So that's just a comparison type of thing. The Bible is consistent. It's not going to steer you wrong. It's not going to switch up its mentality. Because I'm saying that because it's a living word. It's not going to change. It is going to be a consistent thing, a repetitive thing, because of his people being so short-minded. You need it repeated, or they forget it. How many times in the Bible have you read or have you heard that people forgot the customs and there was a person that stepped in and had to teach them all over again? Okay. All in all, and this too with Uriel, this is so deep to me, just personally. When he started talking about the cause and effect of something, I'm big on that. What caused something and what's the effect of something? What is the aftermath? What is left behind? And Uriel explains it perfectly, because anybody can literally see this with their eyes and comprehend what's going on. 2nd Esdras chapter 4 verse 48. This is where Uriel got like facts, okay? So I stood and saw, and behold, an hot burning oven passed before me. And it happened that when the flame was gone by, I looked, and behold, the smoke remained still. After this there passed by before me a watery cloud, and sent down much rain with a storm. And when the stormy rain was past, the drops remained still. There's steam, smoke. Because when a fire comes through and you extinguish it with water, what comes up? The plumes of smoke. Or the steam, whatever may have you, whichever you want to call it, okay? Makes sense, right? There's the smoke that remained, and then the drops that remained, okay? Steam, smoke. Then said he unto me, consider with thyself, as the rain is more than the drops, cause and effect, and the fire is greater than the smoke, but the drops and the smoke remain behind, so the quantity which is past did more exceed. The thing that comes first is greater, but the aftermath is what stays. See how see how Hasatan just comes immediately? Ain't that crazy? Because we don't let that distract us. We don't let that just switch off our minds and thought processes. That's a weak tactic, Hasatan. Okay? Weak. Anyway, let's do another common analogy with that then. Say you are a person who may be in a very chokehold of a habit, right? Which may cause health issues down the line. The habits in which you are doing, and you can apply this to any type of habit that's not the best for you, okay? And it has caused certain things to be chronic, and or if you know somebody like that too, it doesn't have to be you, I'm just saying in general. The habit is what exceeded, but the health conditions is what remained. So if you can't understand this, maybe that's what you can understand. Cause and effect. You know, the ramifications of the instantaneous thing of current decision making and the aftermath. That's just what it is. And then Esdras goes on to say, will I even live to see this time? And Uriel says, I don't know. That's not my position to know. So things that I've collected from just that one chapter with reading today is that yes, we see it every day, how the evil seeds are being, I don't even want to be saying sowed anymore. I think is at a harvest now, just given what's so prevalent nowadays. Just like Sodom and Gomorrah in Egypt. Just like that. Just like the days of Noah, so will the Son of Man be. We know and we understand the certain times that we're in. However, just like Esdras, he asks the same questions we do because we say, you know, we're in the last days and so forth. Yes, the progression in which those last days have been perpetuated and rolled out, yes, I do believe that that is a factual thing in a timeline. However, we do not know the Most High's time when he wants to roll out the correction. We do not know. We cannot pinpoint. We cannot know what season it's in. So the people, there's a reason why I wanted to specify that, because with the prophets that tell you that, oh, a certain thing's gonna happen, people are so gung-ho about this eclipse and with the X or whatever. Now mind you, I live in the place where the X is going to be a part where it's going to meet. I live in that area, okay? I'm not freaking out about none of that when scientists or whatever may have you put this stuff out. To me, it's a test on what you're going to do if certain things come about. And there's these doom preppers and so forth. You cannot flee from the Most High if he wants to get you. Ain't no bunker that can save you. Ain't nothing, no type of armory, nothing can help you against the Most High. And that's that on that. If he wants to get you, he gonna get you. And if he's going to protect you, he is going to protect you. And he's going to make sure that you're good. When it comes to things like that, when you're using wisdom, yes, it's a key thing to have in the back of your mind. Because there is going to be a point in time in which God sends Christ down, and it's going to be a state of pilgrimage. Because when you got to say bye-bye, and you got to go, and you got to go with just the clothes on your back and whatever belongings you may have, maybe not even that. When it comes to that point, a lot of people have to understand that the world that they live in is no longer there. What I'm saying is what they know. The way that they have been living and so forth, that has passed away, because at that time, when that comes, and that's why I know people are in haste for it to happen, because they want to be in the marvelousness of seeing that and being a witness to it. Because for those that truly believe, as it says, it's going to be a beautiful time, because you are protected and nothing shall hurt you during that time. So that way they can bask in God's glory and just watch it unfold. So for those that are in this generation that are seeing certain things unfold, especially when you're waking up to and you woke up to it, it is a very hard mission to go through and complete. However, when you know that you're a part of history, it's a beautiful thing. No, it's not easy. You can breathe easier knowing that if you keep his law, statutes, and commandments, you're gonna be fine. You have to actively every day do so. You have to keep it in the back of your mind. You have to keep the scriptures in the front of your mind. It's not a simple feat. There are conditions as to which you can make it or not. And even so, scripture says that even the least, even those that truly believe and doing 100-fold and doing everything in their power again, they may even be skimming being sealed. They may even be might make it. That's the seriousness of this. And I hope more people gain that understanding that you have to do this. You have to actively every day be okay that you don't know the time, place, if, and, or when, what the Most High is going to do when he starts to roll out this situation. Don't be in haste either, because of you not knowing the time, because some people have gotten too consumed with wanting to know when the time is so that way they can prep, or they want to know when the time is so that way they know that if they can be even alive and so forth. That's not your job to know. The archangels don't know. Christ doesn't even know. Only God knows. So just take the conversation in which Esdras and Uriel had and apply it to your own life for all the points that I've mentioned, and see if there's any similarities to what you have even had in your own personal conversations. You know what I mean? The conversations that we have now have been conversations since the beginning of time. For a very long time. The same conversations. So with the same conversations only lead to one result. Christ coming back and God restoring true justice and having corrective rulership so that the world may be in a rejoiceful state and no longer mourning. And that's what we're praying on. We don't want to mourn anymore. We don't want to have this destitute, isolated, desolated, disgusting, polluted place. We want a peace of rest. We want a world where there's unity and correction and a hierarchy that is correct. That's what we want. And in order to do so, again, we have to keep God's law, statutes, and commandments, and being as studious as possible in these scriptures and keeping it in the forefront of your mind. And I'll leave you with that. Get to studying. And until the next one, take care.